You know, if you're planning on moving to Albuquerque, there's another city that we haven't talked about that is starting to gain a lot of attention. A lot of you guys are starting to hit me up about it and want to know what life is like down there. So for today's video, we're going to be switching gears, talking about RIO Rancho and talking about if it's even still relevant to move to that side of town. So hang tight, grab your pen and your pad, and let's get into today's video. Over close to about 10,000 people moving here since the last time they did a census in 2020. You can just imagine the popularity that RIO Rancho is getting with all the different shopping centers that they are getting, restaurants, and developments that they are building in places like Mountain Hawk, Mariposa, and down in the Lomas Encantadas, which we are going to go over some of those areas, just kind of give you a brief overview of what you can be paying for those areas, guys. And I got to remind you that if this is your first time tuning into the Living in Albuquerque channel, welcome. My name is Eli. Go ahead and hit that subscribe and notification bell down at the bottom. That way you guys never miss out on any videos, because we are dropping videos every week talking about what our beautiful city of Albuquerque and surrounding cities around us like RIO Rancho, Las Zonas, and the East Mountain towns have to offer. Now, aside from doing these videos, you guys have might gotten adrift talking about home prices. We are licensed brokers here in the state of New Mexico, and as much as we love doing these videos for you guys, we love to help you out with your real estate needs. So that number popping up on the screen is my direct line, and as much as I love doing this, I love to help you out with finding that next home down here in RIO Rancho, Albuquerque, Los Lunas, or any of these other great places here in New Mexico that you are looking to call home. But enough about me, guys, blabbering off. Let's get right into today's video. Alrighty, now you may be wondering, Eli, what does it even cost as far as like living situations goes, home prices, property taxes, averages, and all that stuff? And I'm not a big numbers kind of guy. I just kind of like giving a general idea, because if you dive into the numbers, I mean, you can just get lost in the sea of what is going down over there, because it's a little diverse. There is some areas where you can find a house for, you know, under $250,000, believe it or not. Those are going to be some older homes, but for the average home sale price out there in RIO Rancho, you're looking around $350,000, which is pretty much the same as Albuquerque. But believe it or not, some of those newer houses, like in the northeast side of RIO Rancho, can go way past $500,000, just to be honest with you guys. And there are new developments, so a lot of like the Pulte's, Abrazos, DR Hortons, Richmond homes, all these different people. And we've actually done a walkthrough of some of the Richmond homes on some of our videos. You can go back and search for that video, or hit me up, that way I can get it to you. That way you can see the type of builds that they are putting out there in some of these quote unquote luxury areas. But some of those homes go for way past $500,000, but you are gonna kind of get what you pay for in those types of houses, because they are good quality builds. Plus, RIO Rancho has what they call a smart living down there in Loma, Colorado, where they have all the amenities that you could want and need within pretty much a walking distance, which is going to be like a library, a gym, the high school, an aquatic center, and, you know, different shopping centers that are tucked away within that community there, making it super convenient for you just to kind of get out, go and get your groceries, go out and get to the library, to the aquatic center, get the kiddos to school and all that stuff. But really hopping back into some of the cost of living that you are looking over here, RIO Rancho can be a little bit more expensive than Albuquerque, especially when it comes to their taxes, because they are getting taxed around that 2.3%, and Albuquerque's like at a 1.18 when it comes to property taxes. Again, really depending on what area you're going to be calling home when it comes down to these parts of the city, because they do have a ton of luxury builds out there that are pretty much out in the boondocks and in the boonies. And if you are looking to build out there in some of these spots where you're starting to see a lot of these custom home builds, be prepared that you are going to need a septic tank and possibly drilling a well, because the availability of these resources out there hasn't moved just as fast as we'd like to see it move. But some of these newer home builders are making it super easy and feasible for these people to finally get access to these kinds of things. Putting it all in a nutshell, it's very comparable to Albuquerque. Might be just a little bit more expensive, but accounting that, hey, it's out of the way, it's not super urban or anything like that. You're going to see a lot more residential and a lot more open space, just because I tell people all the time, RIO Rancho really didn't become a city until like the 70s and the 80s. It started in the 60s, but really didn't get incorporated till the late 60s, early 70s. So just kind of giving you guys a timeline that it's not even that old, right? My parents are probably as old as RIO Rancho. So let's get right into this next topic, guys. Now, if you're looking for a job in Rio Rancho, you're going to have a number of opportunities because with their growing economy and their job market, you're starting to see a lot more people moving down here to work for Netflix and Tesla, just because both of these giants have called the Southwest home just recently. So you are getting people that are looking to relocate to Rio Rancho just because it is out of the city. Still got all the amenities that you're looking for, especially with those remote workers who really don't got to leave the house for the majority of the time during the week. It makes it super easy for them just to pick any location out there, get a house for a decent price, or even purchase a piece of dirt, which, believe it or not, you can buy a piece of dirt out in the remote of Rio Rancho for around $15,000. Now, it's not going to be the best piece of dirt. You might not have utilities, and you might be hauling water out there, so be really cautious about what dirt you're buying when it comes to moving out there. If you guys have ever seen the movie Glengarry Ross, they're selling pieces of dirt from Rio Rancho to people who are living out in New York. Anyways, before we got off the track talking about movies and stuff, there's a couple of other things that you are going to be looking forward to when it comes to the job market, right? Los Alamos is going to be about 45 minutes to an hour away from there, from Rio Rancho. You are going to have Intel, of course, the number one employer of Rio Rancho. And then you are going to have Presbyterian and UNMH that are adding way more resources and buildings to what they have already built out there as far as Russ Medical Center goes and the Sandoval County University Medical Center goes. They are just expanding so much just because they understand that Rio Rancho needs more healthcare workers out there, because a lot of people were traveling to Albuquerque for the longest time because that was the only way that they can get healthcare. But driving 30 to 45 minutes into Albuquerque just to see your doctor gets old pretty quick. So really capitalizing on that. They got all the food chain restaurants. They just recently got like a Slim Chickens, the Chicken Salad Chick, which is in Albuquerque, but it's so close to Rio Rancho that you might as well just say that it's in Rio Rancho. Then you got like Whataburgers. They even talked about putting an In-N-Out out there, making it more of a travel destination for people to go and visit Rio Rancho. And along with everything else, as far as all the retail spaces that are getting put over there down in the Enchanted Hills area, you're just going to have more service and retail spots, just kind of your traditional jobs that are employing a ton of people within those neighborhoods there. And then you have the resorts. Like, who wouldn't want to work at a resort? Tamaya, it's been featured on TV and everything. It's a super massive area that has a plethora of jobs for you guys to go and take. So if you guys are interested in moving down here just because, hey, I got remote work, working for Netflix, I'm working for Intel, whatever the case is, let's talk about what specific areas you're going to want to move to, because there are some closer areas to these workplaces than you would actually think. Now, when people started talking about Rio Rancho, they noticed that it became, I think it was Forbes or US News, one of those magazines, it became one of the top places to move to in the United States for that year. And it was because it was super family friendly, affordable, and everything that you can think of being a top city to move to. Speaks a lot of volume, and here's why. Because your quality of life is going to be super good. You are talking about a slower pace of living, parks everywhere, super family friendly, residential for the most part, not a whole lot of commercial spaces that you are going to be seeing out there, because they understand that it's a suburby city. That's why a lot of people moved over there in the first place. When they built Rio Rancho Estates, they kind of really were marketing to the people that were looking to retire. Back in the day when AMRAP came through and from the East Coast and really started marketing to the people back home in New York, just showing people that, hey, you can purchase a more affordable lifestyle, you can have a river view and all this stuff, right? They sold them on this grand idea of, you know, kind of retiring, slowing down and all that stuff. Nowadays, it's become a hub for more families, kind of a growing city to be able to sustain all of that. They're adding more trampoline parks. They have walking trails. They got the Bosque Trail super close to them. Of course, Jemez is like 30 minutes away from there. So anything that you could want when it comes down to keeping your kiddos and yourself entertained, going outside and living an outdoorsy lifestyle, Rio Rancho is going to be able to do that for you guys. It is a little bit more of a desert vibe, so you aren't going to get all these massive trees and all that stuff. So just be aware that if you do plan on moving to Rio Rancho, don't expect a whole lot of trees unless you are living in Cabazon, where they, you know, planted all these trees, and you do have more greenery. But that's a very sought out neighborhood where a lot of people are actually wanting to move to, because they have 3 different communities. think 2 of them are gated and 1 of them's kind of open, but they have a massive park with a massive community center with a great pool that you can go and take the kiddos for the summertime now, right? July, it's been monsoon season here. It's been raining, so can't even tell that it's been summer. But anyways, guys, with the sun coming out and just keeping the kiddos entertained during that summer break period, you are gonna have a ton to do out there. Now, our last topic is going to be the future of Rio Rancho and its infrastructure. Now, Rio Rancho is coined the city of vision. Don't know why, don't ask me, but they really are capitalizing on that, and they can't emphasize more as far as how fast they've been growing within the past 10 years. What I've seen is that they built more roadways, they built more accessibility for people who live down there, more parks, more walking trails, and have really incentivized these people with businesses to come down and call this place home. So they are growing at a rapid rate, especially since they do have more space and availability than Albuquerque. And plus, whenever people talk about moving down to the Southwest, for whatever reason, Rio Rancho comes up first before Albuquerque, believe it or not. Albuquerque is just the bigger name, but when they start digging deep, they see Rio Rancho, especially through our videos, and they really get this light bulb of like, man, I think that's somewhere where we need to go, just based off of all the information and data that we've been gathering ourselves. And we actually have sold some houses out there to a few of our clients just recently, and they love it. Even though it's a little bit out of the ways, kind of, 20 to 30 minutes outside of the city, they still love it because they get this sense of like, almost like, not country vibe, but being out of the city, all the noise and all that stuff, and some of these out of the way suburban areas, it really means a lot to people, right? Getting away from the anxiety of the city, the noise and heavy traffics and all that stuff. And Rio Rancho doesn't have a whole lot of ways to travel through it. They don't even have a freeway system yet. I could assume that maybe down in the future they'll expand some of those roadways like 550 and Pat Darko Highway, which is Coors, to be accessible through freeways, making traveling through Rio Rancho a lot easier. But that might not be in my lifetime, that might be in my kiddo's lifetime or my grandchildren's lifetime, but I'd be super excited to see where the city is going because they are doing a lot of great things, especially for the residents that are currently living there and their future residents like you, right? So if you guys are planning on moving down there, whether it's, for a good home, good area, you want to be in a, suburban, but out of the way kind of residential living, you like all the amenities just to be super close to you, Rio Rancho might be a perfect fit for you. And we can dive a little bit more into exactly what you're looking for as far as price points goes, areas, and exactly what you need for your quality of life to make sure that we are fulfilling the expectations when it comes to moving to Rio Rancho. And that number popping up on the screen, guys, is the best way to discover all of this. I am the one that answers all the calls, texts, and emails. So if you guys are interested in moving down here within the next year or so, I'd love to sit down with you guys on a quick Zoom call to talk about all this into detail and create a custom home search for you guys. But enough for me. It was a pretty cool video talking about Rio Rancho. If there's anything I can help you guys out with this week, feel free to hit me up. Until Friday, guys. Peace.